There is a particular kind of pain that comes from spending years giving your heart, your effort, your loyalty, your kindness, and your strength to the world, only to feel as though nobody truly notices who you are beneath the surface. It is the ache of being present in rooms where people know your name but not your story. It is the exhaustion of carrying responsibilities without recognition, surviving hardships without applause, and overcoming battles that nobody ever realized you were fighting. Many people who walk a deeper path in life know this feeling well. They know what it is like to smile while carrying burdens. They know what it is like to encourage others while quietly needing encouragement themselves. They know what it is like to be surrounded by people and still feel unseen. If this feeling has followed you for years, there is something important you need to remember. The fact that others failed to see you does not mean there was nothing worth seeing. Sometimes the most valuable things in this world go unnoticed for long periods of time. A seed remains hidden beneath the soil before it becomes a tree. Gold remains buried beneath layers of earth before anyone recognizes its value. The strongest foundations are often invisible because they exist beneath everything else. In many ways, your life may have followed that same pattern. While others were being celebrated for visible achievements, you were developing qualities that cannot be measured with simple recognition. You were learning endurance. You were learning patience. You were learning compassion. You were learning how to continue moving forward when life gave you every reason to stop. Those lessons rarely attract attention in the moment. They happen in silence. They happen in seasons where very few people are watching. They happen during long nights of uncertainty, disappointment, and waiting. Yet some of the most important growth in a person's life happens precisely there. The world often notices confidence before character. It notices appearance before depth. It notices success before sacrifice. But God sees differently. He sees the tears nobody else noticed. He sees the prayers spoken in private. He sees the moments when you chose kindness despite being hurt. He sees the times you remained faithful, even when nothing seemed to be changing. He sees every act of courage that never appeared important to anyone else. There may have been seasons when you wondered if your efforts mattered at all. You may have looked around and felt invisible. You may have questioned whether anyone truly understood your heart. Perhaps people misunderstood your intentions. Perhaps they judged your quietness as weakness. Perhaps they overlooked your contributions because you never demanded attention. Perhaps they became accustomed to your strength and forgot that even strong people need encouragement. This happens more often than many realize. People become so accustomed to someone carrying burdens well that they stop noticing the weight being carried. They assume that because you survive difficult seasons, those seasons must not hurt. They assume that because you remain calm, you never struggle. They assume that because you continue showing up, you do not need support. Yet beneath that appearance of stability may be years of silent perseverance that few people ever recognized. You carried burdens that few people ever noticed. Your kindness cost you more than most people will ever understand. Not every battle you fought was in vain. There is a strength within you that kept moving forward, even on your darkest days. The fact that you are still standing says more about your strength than you realize. Sometimes people who possess deep emotional strength become experts at hiding their pain. They learn how to function while hurting. They learn how to smile while grieving. They learn how to continue serving others while feeling empty themselves. Over time, this creates a strange loneliness. Others see the outer version of them, but rarely see the reality beneath. They become known for what they do rather than for who they are. They become appreciated for their usefulness, while their humanity remains overlooked. If this describes part of your journey, know that your value was never dependent upon being fully understood by everyone around you. Human beings often see only fragments of each other. They see moments, they see behaviors, they see limited pieces of a much larger story. Few people ever see the complete picture. Few people understand the sacrifices hidden behind another person's smile. Few people recognize the healing that had to happen for someone simply to keep moving forward. That does not diminish the value of the story. It simply reveals the limitations of human perception. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning that recognition and worth are not the same thing. Many people spend years chasing validation because they believe recognition will finally prove their value. Yet countless individuals receive recognition while still feeling empty inside. Others receive very little recognition, yet possess extraordinary value. Your worth was never created by the opinions of other people. Your worth existed before anyone noticed you. Your worth remained intact when people overlooked you. Your worth survived every season of rejection, misunderstanding, and disappointment. There is something deeply valuable within you that has remained untouched by every circumstance that tried to convince you otherwise. Life has likely shown you that some people only see what benefits them. Some people notice others only when they need something. Some relationships remain shallow because they never move beyond appearances. This can leave deep wounds, especially for those who long to be genuinely known. Yet even these painful experiences can produce wisdom. They teach you where true belonging comes from. They teach you that being seen is not always about being noticed. Being seen is about being understood. It is about being valued for who you truly are. It is about having your heart recognized, your struggles acknowledged, and your humanity respected. Many people spend years searching for this kind of connection. The beautiful truth is that your inability to find it in certain places does not mean it does not exist. It simply means those places were not where it was meant to be found. Some of the loneliness you experienced was preparing you to recognize authentic connection when it arrives. Some of the disappointment was teaching you to value sincerity over popularity. Some of the waiting was helping you discover that your identity is deeper than public recognition. God has a way of using hidden seasons to build hidden strength. While others may have overlooked your journey, heaven never lost sight of it. Every difficult chapter carried purpose. Every setback carried lessons. Every disappointment shaped something within you. The seasons that tested you were also shaping who you were becoming. Your story has value even if it did not unfold the way you expected. Your endurance matters. Your faith matters. Your compassion matters. Your willingness to continue despite hardship matters. The world may not have applauded every step, but those steps still counted. They still moved you forward. They still built character that cannot be taken away. There is a quiet dignity that develops in people who have learned to persevere without constant recognition. They become anchored by something deeper. They discover strength that comes from within rather than from applause. They learn how to remain faithful to their purpose, even when nobody seems to notice. This kind of strength is rare. It is not loud, it is not flashy, it is not dependent upon attention. Yet it often becomes the very quality that carries people through life's most difficult storms. Perhaps today, you need to hear something simple but powerful. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked by the one who knows every detail of your life. The moments when nobody seemed to see you did not erase your value. The seasons of loneliness did not erase your purpose. The disappointments did not erase your future. There is still meaning in your journey. There is still beauty in your story. There is still hope ahead of you. The same strength that carried you through previous seasons continues to live within you now. The same faith that helped you endure difficult days remains present. The same quiet resilience that brought you this far will help you keep moving forward. And one day, many of the things that seemed hidden will make sense in ways they never did before. If this message spoke to your heart and reminded you that your value does not depend on how many people notice you, subscribe to the channel and continue walking with a community focused on faith, healing, purpose, and encouragement. Sometimes the reminders we need most arrive during seasons when we feel unseen, and there may be more ahead that speaks directly to your journey. Some of your greatest victories happened in silence when nobody was watching. Long before anyone saw the person you are today, there were countless moments when you chose not to quit. There were mornings when getting out of bed required more strength than anyone realized. There were nights when your heart felt heavy with questions you could not answer. There were seasons when you carried responsibilities, disappointments, fears, and losses while continuing to show up for the people around you. Yet very few people knew what those moments cost you. Very few people understood the courage hidden within ordinary days. This is one reason many people who feel deeply connected to purpose often struggle with feeling unseen. They have spent so much of their lives surviving private battles that others only encounter the finished version. People see the calm exterior, but never witness the storm that came before it. They see the wisdom but not the wounds that helped create it. They see the strength but not the suffering that developed it. They see the perseverance, but not the countless times that perseverance was tested. As a result, there can be an ongoing feeling that nobody truly knows who you are. Nobody fully understands what you have endured. Nobody sees the full weight of the journey. If that feeling has lived within you for a long time, it is understandable. Human beings naturally desire connection. They desire understanding. They desire to know that their experiences matter and that their pain has been acknowledged. There is nothing weak about that desire. In fact, it is one of the most human desires of all. The difficulty arises when life repeatedly places people in situations where they feel misunderstood. After enough disappointment, some begin protecting themselves. They stop sharing certain parts of their story. They stop expecting others to understand. They learn to carry things alone because experience has taught them that vulnerability is not always received with care. Over time, this can create emotional walls that were never meant to become permanent. The heart becomes cautious, the spirit becomes guarded, trust becomes harder, hope becomes quieter. Yet beneath those protective layers remains the same desire that has always existed, the desire to be genuinely known and accepted. Many people spend years believing there must be something wrong with them because they feel disconnected from those around them. They wonder why conversations often feel shallow. They wonder why relationships sometimes leave them feeling emptier rather than fuller. They wonder why they can sit in a crowded room and still feel alone. The answer is not always that they are different in a negative sense. Often it is because their hearts long for a depth of connection that many everyday interactions never reach. They are looking for sincerity in a world that often celebrates appearances. They are looking for authenticity in environments that reward performance. They are looking for understanding in places where many people are distracted by their own struggles. This does not mean others are bad people. It simply means that many individuals are carrying their own burdens and limitations. Everyone sees through the lens of their own experiences. Everyone has blind spots. Everyone misunderstands things at times. Recognizing this can be healing because it helps you stop measuring your worth according to the level of understanding you receive from others. Some people fail to recognize your value not because you lacked value, but because they lacked the ability to see it. A diamond does not become less precious because someone mistakes it for an ordinary stone. Its value remains unchanged. In the same way, your worth remains intact regardless of who failed to appreciate it. There may have been people who overlooked your loyalty. There may have been people who benefited from your kindness without ever expressing gratitude. There may have been people who judged your quiet nature without realizing the depth behind it. There may have been people who walked away without understanding what they were leaving behind. Those experiences hurt because they touch something deeply personal, yet they do not have the authority to define your identity. The opinions of others are limited. The truth about who you are is larger than any misunderstanding. You are worth far more than the moments that tried to make you feel small. One of the most beautiful transformations happens when a person begins seeing themselves through a healthier lens. Instead of focusing exclusively on who failed to understand them, they begin recognizing the strength that allowed them to survive. Instead of dwelling solely on rejection, they begin appreciating the resilience developed through those experiences. Instead of viewing their scars as evidence of weakness, they begin seeing them as reminders of endurance. This shift does not happen overnight. Healing is often gradual. It unfolds through many small moments of growth. It unfolds through reflection, prayer, patience, and self-compassion. It unfolds when a person stops demanding perfection from themselves and starts recognizing how much they have already overcome. You have survived experiences that could have made you bitter, yet you still possess kindness. You have faced disappointments that could have destroyed your hope, yet some part of you continues believing that better days are possible. You have endured seasons that could have hardened your heart completely, yet you still care. Those qualities deserve recognition. They reveal something remarkable about your character. They reveal that hardship did not have the final word. They reveal that your spirit remained alive even when circumstances tried to crush it. God often works quietly in the lives of people who feel overlooked. While they are worrying that nothing is happening, transformation is taking place beneath the surface. Strength is growing. Wisdom is developing. Character is deepening. Perspective is expanding. The process may not be visible to others, but that does not mean it is insignificant. Some of the most important work God does occurs in hidden places. Scripture repeatedly tells stories of preparation before purpose became visible. There were years of waiting before breakthroughs arrived. There were long seasons of obscurity before influence appeared. There were difficult chapters before promises were fulfilled. These stories remind us that hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are often preparation seasons. They are times when foundations are being strengthened for what comes next. If you have spent years feeling unseen, perhaps part of the reason is that your story is still unfolding. Perhaps there are chapters ahead that will reveal why certain lessons were necessary. Perhaps there are blessings ahead that require the strength you have been developing. Perhaps there are people you will one day encourage precisely because you understand what it feels like to be overlooked. Pain has a way of creating compassion. Struggle has a way of creating wisdom. Endurance has a way of creating credibility. The battles you survived may eventually become part of someone else's healing. The comfort you longed for may become comfort you are able to offer. The understanding you wished someone had shown you may become understanding you extend to others. This does not mean your suffering was easy. It does not mean every hardship had a simple explanation. It simply means that difficult experiences do not have to be meaningless. They can contribute to something greater than themselves. They can shape a person into someone capable of bringing hope into dark places. They can produce strength that benefits more than one life. Even now there are qualities within you that were born through adversity: patience, empathy, perseverance, faith, courage. These qualities were forged through experiences that many people never saw. Yet their existence proves that those experiences accomplished something valuable. You are not merely the sum of your disappointments. You are also the product of every time you chose to continue. You are the result of every prayer spoken through tears. You are the result of every act of faith performed despite uncertainty. You are the result of every moment you stood back up after being knocked down. That story deserves respect. That story deserves honor. That story deserves to be remembered. Most importantly, that story deserves to be viewed through the eyes of grace rather than criticism. If you have spent years feeling unseen, perhaps today is an opportunity to remember that being unseen by people is not the same as being unseen by God. His awareness of your life never diminished. His understanding of your struggles never disappeared. His compassion never left. He saw every hidden sacrifice. He saw every silent heartbreak. He saw every act of perseverance. And he continues to see the person you are becoming. If these words helped you remember your worth and recognize the strength that has carried you this far, subscribe to the channel and continue receiving messages centered on faith, healing, resilience, and personal growth. You do not have to walk every part of this journey alone, and sometimes a message of encouragement can help illuminate the path ahead. There comes a moment in many people's lives when they begin to understand that the deepest form of being seen does not come from recognition, praise, popularity, or approval. It comes from finally realizing that their value was never dependent upon those things in the first place. This realization is often born after years of searching, years of hoping certain people would understand, years of wishing someone would acknowledge the sacrifices, the struggles, the loyalty, the effort, and the pain. Years of believing that if only the right person noticed, everything would finally feel different. Yet for many who have walked through long seasons of loneliness, the greatest breakthrough does not happen when everyone suddenly begins to understand them. The greatest breakthrough happens when they stop allowing misunderstanding to determine how they see themselves. They begin recognizing that they are worthy, even when others fail to recognize it. They begin understanding that their story matters even when it is not celebrated. They begin seeing that their life carries meaning even when the world remains silent. This kind of healing changes everything because it shifts the source of validation from something external to something deeper and more lasting. For much of life, many people unknowingly hand their sense of worth to others. They allow approval to become proof of value. They allow attention to become evidence of significance. They allow acceptance to become confirmation of identity. The problem with this approach is that people are inconsistent. Some will appreciate you one day and overlook you the next. Some will support you during easy seasons, but disappear during difficult ones. Some will misunderstand your intentions despite your best efforts. If your worth depends entirely upon their responses, your sense of value will constantly rise and fall according to circumstances you cannot control. True peace begins when you realize that your identity is stronger than public opinion. Your value is deeper than recognition. Your purpose is larger than popularity. The years you spent feeling unseen may have been teaching you this truth in ways you could not fully understand at the time. Looking back, you may recognize moments that once felt purely painful, but now reveal hidden lessons. Perhaps rejection taught you independence. Perhaps loneliness taught you how to develop a stronger relationship with God. Perhaps disappointment taught you wisdom. Perhaps waiting taught you patience. Perhaps loss taught you gratitude. None of those lessons were easy to learn. Some came through tears, some came through heartbreak, some came through seasons you never wanted to experience. Yet many of those same seasons shaped qualities within you that now define your strength. The person you are today did not emerge despite every challenge. In many ways, that person emerged through those challenges. This does not mean you needed every painful experience. It does not mean every hardship was good. It means that even difficult circumstances were unable to destroy the value that existed within you. They tested you, but they did not erase you. They wounded you, but they did not define you. They delayed certain things, but they did not cancel your future. There is something powerful about recognizing how far you have come. So often, people focus on what they still lack that they forget to acknowledge what they have survived. They focus on what remains unresolved and overlook how much progress has already occurred. Yet consider your own journey for a moment. Think about the obstacles you once believed would break you. Think about the fears you once believed would overwhelm you. Think about the losses that seemed impossible to carry. Somehow, despite everything, you are still here. You are still moving forward. You are still searching for meaning. You are still capable of hope. The fact that you are still standing says more about your strength than you realize. There is resilience within you that cannot be measured by external success. There is courage within you that does not require an audience. There is dignity within you that remains intact regardless of who notices it. Some of your greatest victories happened in silence when nobody was watching. The world may never fully understand every chapter of your story. There are experiences that only you and God completely know. There are prayers that nobody else heard. There are tears that nobody else witnessed. There are moments of perseverance that occurred entirely in private. Yet their hidden nature does not make them less meaningful. In fact, some of the most sacred moments of growth happen away from public view. They happen when a person chooses faith over despair. They happen when a person chooses kindness despite disappointment. They happen when a person chooses to continue despite exhaustion. These moments may never receive applause, but they leave permanent marks on the soul. They build character. They build strength. They build wisdom. They build the kind of foundation that can support future blessings. Perhaps one reason you have felt unseen is because your journey was never primarily about human recognition. Perhaps it was about transformation. Perhaps it was about becoming someone whose strength runs deeper than circumstances. Perhaps it was about learning to trust God's perspective more than the changing opinions of people. Throughout history, many individuals who made the greatest impact spent significant periods of their lives in obscurity. They experienced waiting. They experienced uncertainty. They experienced seasons where very little seemed to happen. Yet those hidden years often became essential parts of their preparation. The same may be true for you. The chapters that felt empty may have been developing qualities that will serve you for years to come. The delays that frustrated you may have protected you from paths that were never meant for you. The loneliness that wounded you may have deepened your compassion for others. The struggles that exhausted you may have revealed strengths you otherwise would never have discovered. This perspective does not erase pain, but it gives pain context. It reminds you that difficult seasons do not have to be meaningless. They can become part of a larger story of growth, healing, and purpose. As you continue moving forward, remember that your future does not have to look exactly like your past. The loneliness you experienced does not guarantee permanent loneliness. The rejection you face does not guarantee future rejection. The disappointments you endured do not guarantee future disappointment. Life unfolds in seasons. Seasons change. new relationships emerge, new opportunities appear, new forms of healing become possible, new reasons for hope arrive. Some of the blessings ahead may come in ways you never expected. Some of the people who truly appreciate your heart may not have entered your life yet. Some of the understanding you longed for may still be ahead. The story is not finished. The difficult chapters were chapters, not the entire book. There is still room for restoration. There is still room for growth. There is still room for joy. Most importantly, there is still room for hope. Hope does not require pretending that everything has been easy. Hope simply means believing that difficulty is not the final destination. It means believing that your life contains more than its hardest moments. It means believing that God is still working, even when progress feels slow. It means believing that your value remains secure regardless of who recognized it. You are worth far more than the moments that tried to make you feel small. Your kindness mattered. Your faith mattered. Your perseverance mattered. Your sacrifices mattered. God saw the tears that nobody else noticed. He saw the battles that nobody else understood. He saw the courage required to keep going. And He has not forgotten you. If anything, the very fact that you continued moving forward through so many unseen struggles reveals just how extraordinary your strength truly is. One day, you may look back and realize that the years you felt invisible were also the years you became unshakable. If this journey resonated with your heart and reminded you that your story carries value, subscribe to the channel so you can continue receiving messages of faith, encouragement, healing, and purpose. May each message help strengthen your hope, deepen your resilience, and remind you that your life matters far more than you have ever been led to believe.